There was just this voice that said, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Then on the fourth day, I knew who Mark was. I knew who my mom was. I knew where I was at. I was in Iowa. About a month after that, I was in Wisconsin, Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. It was a group of friends. And I woke up one morning, and I looked at my friend's mother, and I said, you have to call your daughter right now and tell her not to come up. And she was like, what do you mean? No, I said, you don't understand. Call your daughter right now and tell her not to come up. Of course she did not. The daughter was killed in a car accident on the way up there. I turned the switch off and said, I don't want to do this. So I chose to smoke marijuana every day for the next 3 years to numb it out. Around that time, my childhood friend, his mother gave me a book called You Were Born Again to Be Together by Dick Sutphin. How many of you heard of Dick Sutphin? All right. And she also gave me this audio tape called The Out of the Ordinary Show, KIEV, Los Angeles, California. A gentleman was channeling John the Baptist, Jerry Bowman, or John from the Bible. The next thing I knew, this individual called John was talking to me in my dream state. He would say things, we never use the truth to be right. We never use the truth to make others wrong. And we never use the truth to score points for ego. Or he'd walk into my room and say, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Why do you seek anything else? Then you'd leave. He would say, a master is not a master because he himself says so. A master is called master because those who witness him say he's master. And I'm 20 years old when this is going on, and I'm not, and then, he's going, well, do you really want to experience your life as anything less than Jesus did? That one kind of hits you right in the gut, doesn't it? Wow. And you're 20 years old, and your mind is not thinking about spiritual things. It's thinking about blondes and wrestling and, it's not thinking about being a spiritual person. That's for sure. So, in 1993, I lived in Charleston, South Carolina. I worked at 82 Queen. I've done more restaurant work than I care to admit. And 82 Queen is still there. It's a great restaurant in Charleston. And one day, or for 5 days in a row, this man from England came into the restaurant. And no matter what section I was in, he ended up in my section. On the fifth day, we had an hour and a half wait. I had 6 tables. This voice says, Mark, you need to talk to him about sacred geometry. And at the time, I'm watching the videotapes of Drunville Melchizedek on the Flower of Life workshop. And I'm going, no. I left the table. I was physically pushed back in front of the table by an unseen force. And they said, you do not understand. You will please talk to him now. I looked at him, I said, so are you a mathematics professor? And he goes, no, but why did you just ask me that question? And I said, well, I'm watching these videotapes on sacred geometry and the Sphinx and all this. He goes, oh, Drunville Melchizedek, I've been looking all over the world for those videotapes. Would you give them to me? I said, well, they're not mine, but let me call my friend, and I'll see if I can give you the set. I called her, said, yeah, Mark, go ahead and give it to him. So I met him the next morning, gave him the videotapes. Didn't hear anything from him. 3 months passed. I go to work one night. The voice comes back. Mark, we need you to go to your manager and ask her, because you need to go home right now. Maybe. So they go, no. Because I just got there, and we've got 400 people on the books, and it's going to be a busy night. Stacy, can I go home? I guess so. The voice comes back. Mark, will you go directly to your house? Don't stop anywhere. Okay. Go home. Open the door. As I'm opening the door, the phone's ringing. It's Roger calling me from France. He says, how would you like to meet Drunville Melchizedek in person? I'm like, sure. What do I need to do? He says, all that you have to do is show up. Everything's been paid for. Thank you for the videotapes. And then in 1993, later on that year, John and, have you heard of Jack Purcell, who channels Lazarus? John and Lazarus downloaded a 3.5-hour movie script into my mind that I'm still working on. It's about the abuse of power that the Catholic Church has done in 1700 years. So one of these days I'll get it out. Then in 1994, I went and saw Barbara Marciniak, who channeled the book Bringers of the Dawn. Even though that book, there were a lot of predictions that she made did not come true, it is my opinion that is one of the most valid books on the planet right now. It's called Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak. And it talks about sound and sacred geometry. And I went and saw Barbara in Asheville, North Carolina. And the first sound that came out of my mouth was, ooh. And then in 1996 or 97, this really strange sound came through me. And we're going to get into the sound in just a little bit, because I believe you didn't come here to see the latchkey kid from Iowa speak. And so I'm going to pull away the mic, and this Tibetan bowl sound came out. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to do some group things. So bear with me. So 96, this sound came through me. Now, if you noticed, Mark kind of left. Mark still hasn't come back yet. If you notice something else, the room became very still. That's why we call it the sound of stillness. Now, John, I want you to do something. I want you to say the line in the Bible, "Be still and know I am God."
Be still and know I am God.
Joyce, I want you to do the same thing.
Be still and know I am God.
Phil, I want you to say the same thing.
Be still and know that I am God.
Jim, same thing.
Be still and know that I am God.
Deal. Be still and know that I am God.
All right. Now, did Jesus say that so that you would meditate on that he was God? That's right. He said it so that you would remember that you are God's. John 10, verse 34, ye are God's. I chose to have a father that is a right-winged, right-ringed Christian. So we've had a few interesting conversations in our life. I always say that I'm psychic because of him. I'm not psychic. I'm definitely not psychic because of my mother. That's for sure. So, why is it strange that still is a passive act, but sound is dynamic? Why is that? Need balance. Let's look at the planet right now. The planet's kind of scary, right? Many people think that we're going to ascend or become God or become Christ-like, or we're going to evolve into the state of consciousness. Right? We're going to ascend or become godlike. I don't want to disappoint anyone, but I don't think that's happening. Because you see, you're it. You're already it. Judgment Day is not at hand. Non-judgment day is at hand.